What's up, everyone? Welcome to the 422nd episode of the Pokemon Podcast. It's super effective. SBJ here, your host. Also, Greg here.
I am also your host. Don't let Steve say that we aren't hosts. Hi.
Hi.
Can we talk about how these Pokemon GO events are getting out of control? This live tornadoes thunderous visit that we had on Friday was real bad.
Oh,
I did not care for it.
I see the joke. I get it. I see through. Greg, I already did introduce Greg. Will here.
I was an Egan and therefore did not get the opportunity to capture Tornadus or Thunderous.
Yep. But you kept your powers.
Minnesota's so boring at this point that it's just weather cast every episode with you guys.
I mean, do you want me to talk about skateboarding?
This is a major event. Yeah, we don't want to talk about skateboarding. I could have died, Steve. And you don't even care. You didn't even text back.
I was out in...
You didn't even hit...
What are you talking about? I text back?
You were
he's
streaming.
Like, what the heck are you guys talking about?
Yeah. I'm hiding in the basement on a Friday night, and you're like, I'm going to catch this shiny. My friends are dying, but I don't care.
If I'm working, on
Sunday,
he's got his priorities in order.
We bring it up on Sunday so that people out there aren't worried, and you're like, it's so boring that you almost died.
If I'm working, I'm working. I have the common decency not to text you at 4 a.m. because you boys are sleeping.
Well, because we have a normal schedule.
No, I get up at
like
4
the rest of the world.
Yeah, I was going to say, Will actually gets up at 4. We got a show for you guys. We have not a lot of Pokemon news this week, a little bit lighter, but that's okay because we have an interview. You can probably tell by the title of the episode. I interviewed Joshua Yehl from IGN. So that'll be the second part of the interview. So if we do miss some Pokemon news, there's always next week. Speaking of Pokemon news, I guess we start with the makeup day in Pokemon Go for the... There's not much to say here for Go Fest. It was fine. It existed.
I missed it.
Most people in America probably shouldn't complain because they weren't the ones that had the majority of the issues. It was like New Zealand and Australia and Asia that had way more issues than everywhere else, but...
Well, I had some issues this morning. I was trying to walk, balance my bike, drink a cup of coffee, and play Pokemon Go all at the same time. And there was lag, too.
I'll let Niantic know. The bike, coffee, Pokemon Go combo, not...
Yeah.
I need a Pokebike Plus, which is something I can attach onto the handlebar of my bike that does everything that the Pokeball Plus does, but not in my hand. So my bike can do it for me.
But not in my hand. Can't you just wrap the Pokeball Plus around the handlebars?
Yeah, because you got to press the button.
But you can get one of those drinking birds from the 70s.
Just get a rubber band and wrap the rubber band around the ball.
Have you? I don't live the rubber band lifestyle. I'm a paperclip dude.
What?
It's okay.
How are you not living the vastly superior rubber band life and going for Clippy the garbage?
No. Yep.
Who even are you?
Will, was it everything you wanted? You bought a ticket to both days. Well, you had to buy a ticket to both days to Go Fest, and you missed it. And
I mean, I enjoyed. Okay, I mean, I'm happy that I was able to fill the fire and water segments, and with this current, I don't know what's happening in Pokemon Go right now, but we're certainly getting a lot of grassies. I mean, I'm happy that I'm able to make the progress on it, even though I had to pay for more Pokemon storage, and yet also still transfer, in quotes, like 200 more Pokemon for this whole thing to work. But I mean, I'm happy I get the opportunity to do the Pokemon Go Fest stuff, which I didn't do because I was, at a wedding.
You're one step closer to Victini.
I love Victini very much. You are correct.
It is Unova week right now in Pokemon Go. That'll last until Friday till 1 p.m. Pacific time, 4 p.m. Eastern. Swaddle has been added. Emolga is somewhere, I guess.
I just
Is it in an egg?
Off Pokemon.com, it says this includes Swaddle, Cottony, and if you're lucky, Emolga. Not shiny Emolga, just Emolga.
I think I got Swaddle out of an egg.
Yeah, they're in. I don't know if Emolga's in eggs, but definitely Swaddle and Cottonee are in eggs.
I just got a Swaddle and a Cottonee back to back.
There you go.
That's all I'm saying.
Shiny Rock and Roller. Shiny Rock and Rolla got added. Bouffalant is in New York somewhere. Genesect, the mythical Pokemon, appearing in 5-star raids. If you're looking for Genesect, if you're one of those people in the middle of nowhere with dial-up internet and one Pokestop in your city of 500 people, and you're looking for Genesect, both the Slack community has been nonstop doing Genesects with each other, and the Discord community is doing nonstop Genesects with each other, so it hasn't really been too hard to give... It's never been a better time to give Niantic your money. 3 premium raid passes at a time.
It's costing me so much money. I'm having issues with how much money this is costing me right now.
I'm not doing more remote raids.
What?
Done.
What's the issue?
You have to pay for the passes.
You have to pay for the passes for regular raids.
No, I get one free one every day.
Free.
That's the one I do.
This is the 5-head strategy. This is the big brain.
Oh man.
You use your free one and you invite other people to it.
But then they have to pay. I don't want to be the one who makes my friends have to pay for stuff.
They're adults.
I mean, true.
In theory.
They're gonna spend the money on Genesect, whether it's your raid or somebody else's, so you might as well recruit them to help you defeat Genesect.
But I have a research task, which if I just bother to do it, I'll get a Genesect.
What is the over? What was the over under? What was the over under on you completing that before Friday?
Before Friday?
Yeah.
Wait, what's the rush to get Genesect? I don't need Genesect before Friday.
Because we don't know if Niantic's going to turn off the shiny.
But I don't need a shiny.
All right. It's red. They made a movie about it.
I mean, I have a shiny Genesect in my Pokemon home. I don't need
more.
No,
you don't.
I'm pretty sure there was a shiny Genesect distribution, dude.
Specifically in Japan. It was never released in the United States.
I have Japanese friends.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, how do you search for things in Pokemon Home? This is confusing as all heck.
Oh, good luck.
We can't spend an hour talking about how bad Pokemon Home is.
Yeah, we can.
Oh, I mean, yes, we
clearly can.
We can.
We clearly can. We shouldn't, is what you're trying to say. But we can clearly complete that task quite easily.
That one's purple.
Hey, speaking of Pokemon Home, do you guys remember Pokemon Pass?
Yeah, I got that installed on my phone.
There's a new distribution for it.
At Target? I better reinstall it.
This is I just pulled this off Sarah B's Twitter. A special Dynamax Crystal event to get Gigantamax Copperajah is available in the US at GameStop through Pokemon Pass app. Remember last week when we said there's no way that the Pokemon Company would do a distribution that would cause a person to go outside of their house to a retail location to redeem just Copperajah. Nothing's too special about it besides it.
Hey, it's Gigantamax Copperajah.
True. From now until the 31st, you can get a crystal that gets you Gigantamax Copperajah? Question mark?
Is it special in any way?
No.
It's Gigantamax. Not all Copperajas can Gigantamax, friends.
Well, if only there was a soup in the game that...
Yeah, but then you got to get all those mushrooms and the honeys and the... Oh.
This event did run in Europe earlier this year, I think in June. And I think prior to that, it ran in Japan. So I guess it's just making the rounds. My guess was that this was already established because it's August. And they probably had a lot of things lined up for August because it was the World Championship. It's supposed to be this past weekend. So what did they do last year during the World Championship? They had a GameStop event last year, and we all complained because there was no GameStops in DC.
There's no GameStops in DC, correct.
It was not even that good of an event either. It was pretty mediocre. Wasn't it like go to GameStop and get a sticker in Pokemon Pass or something? It was like really bad.
That sounds about right.
I didn't even think it was a Pokemon. I think it was a sticker. I thought they would just move this all to home though. But again, maybe they just made the deal with Pass. I don't with
who made what? Where is this distribution? Did you even say the store?
Yeah, GameStop.
No, that's not possible.
Yeah, Dynamax Crystal event through Gigantamax Copperajah, available through Gigantamax GameStop through the Gigantamax Pokemon Pass app.
I can't hear it because GameStop isn't real. No.
They're surviving by a thread.
I went to one in Indianapolis a couple of weeks ago. You are correct. Trying to find some magic cards.
I caught a Basculin at the one up by the laundromat that I had to go to.
GameStop?
Yeah.
Did you get your Copperajah?
Well, I didn't know there was a Copperajah thing while I was sitting in there. I just got the Basculin and I named it Blue Steve.
Thanks.
Man, I am having so much lag in Pokemon Go right now.
It's grass week.
California just started their...
Oh, California, you eat up all of our bandwidth. You eat up all of our water. California, get it together.
All right, let's talk about the big news this week.
Okay, what is it?
The Pokémon Company. Have you heard of them? Owned by Niantic.
Are they related to the Pokemon Company International? Because
No, they're
that's the one
separate.
I know. Okay.
That was a joke. They're not owned by Niantic. The Pokemon Company decided that we, Greg and Will, the royal we, Greg, Will, and myself, are too powerful.
Yes.
They launched their own podcast.
Rival podcast. We are
Why
now
are you
eternal
giving
enemies.
them free advertising? Free advertising to your audience. This audience could have gotten blissfully aware that the Pokemon Company is attempting to take over our turf.
Actually, have you listened to their podcast?
I have not.
I have.
Look,
I listened to the
any
whole thing this
podcast.
morning.
It's actually, I did too. It's actually really nice. And I can also say, not a direct competitor to the content that we provide in the slightest bit.
Yeah, so it's called The Play Pokemon Podcast. It is hosted by Jay Blake, who works at the Pokemon Company. I met Jay at the 2018 National or World Championship in Nashville. DM'd me on Twitter that weekend, and then we met up, and he's a very nice guy. He's the host. He has a very, very good hosting voice.
I think his accent can be a little confusing at times.
What? I like his voice.
His voice is nice. His accent can be a little confusing.
What, because you can't tell what the accent is?
I'm not British. So some of his word pronunciations are a little difficult at times.
It's all the extra unnecessary U's that make it very confusing. Like,
Yes.
why is there a U in there? It doesn't need it.
This seems like their episodes are dropping like every Wednesday, and I think their final episode will be September 9th. That's what it at least says on Pokemon.com. It says...
so it's like a short run?
Yeah, look forward to new episodes every Wednesday through September 9th. They even say that near the end of the first episode of the podcast, where they said it was like, we're covering the championship series, and then we're done. So
this is like cereal.
Yes, you won't believe the Pokemon who murdered so-and-so is. Twist and turns left and right.
Twist and turns left and right. I mean, what they did with the cell phone records will probably make me just as angry.
I got asked the question a lot this week on Twitch, which was, are you worried about them? But yeah, I don't think anyone listening to It's Super Effective goes, oh, wait, there's an official podcast that is super competitive and not like covering news? I'm going to go over there and stop listening to this.
Super competitive. Absolutely. Like, yeah.
Their show is, it is like the, I don't know, football coverage of like games.
Very much.
It's very, very competitive. I find it, I don't know if, I'm sure this Pokemon fan exists, but I don't know how many there are. What is that thing called? The Venn diagram? Where you got the circles?
Yeah.
It's called the Venn diagram.
Of a competitive... First off, you have to like competitive Pokemon.
One.
That's number one. Number
That's
two...
circle one.
Is there's not... I've gone to countless regionals, battle roads, champion cups, worlds, nationals. There is already an extremely small overlap at these big tournaments of somebody who loves VGC and somebody who loves TCG.
Oh, don't forget Pokken Tournament. Because that's up in there too.
Right, that's up. So if to find a person that likes all three, and like I don't know if it's possible to like dedicate yourself to all three. Even I guess you could respect it. You could respect it, I guess, and be like, I don't play Pokemon Tournament, but I love watching competitive Pokemon Tournament, or like I don't play competitive TCG, but I love watching it, but I do play and like competitive VGC. Maybe that exists.
Well, it's the person like me who goes to day one to play the TCG, scrubs out, and then plays the VGC on day two and scrubs out.
And scrubs out.
I think the other focus of the podcast is they wanted to bring to light players. What I noticed a lot in the... So the show is actually formatted really, really well. Jay talks to people specifically in that field, right? So you're the VGC person, you're the TCG person, you're the Pokémon person. So I think it was structured really well. But I can easily see somebody who's like listening to the video game part, and then it gets to the TCG part, and they're like, I don't care, I'm out. Those people exist. I don't care about Pokken at all, but I was like, I want to listen to it because I'm just curious of like what happens after the Pokken stuff. But
yeah, it's very much like an ESPN program where they're like, this player, because right, it's not just a general. It's definitely not like here's how to get good at being competitive. That is not there at all. But it's really a lot of stats and figures about like, this is how many times this particular Pokemon has shown up in, the top competitions. And these are the players who are making it to like the finals of the Play Pokemon, where it's specific for the top players and calling them out as if they're kind of like sports personalities that we should know. I have no idea who Shadowcat is, but I have now heard that name like 20 times.
It was
Shadowcat's Darkrai. Supposedly, I need to care about this.
That's true. Yeah, it was. I hate esports. It's so jarring to go from like in the video game where they're talking about players' real names.
Oh yeah, they talk about Wolf Glick. Yep.
And then in the TCG, they talk about
Peter's real names.
And then in the Pokken, they're like, Shadowcat is fighting Blaze at 420. And then after that, 69 Nate 69 is going to come on in. And oh my gosh, his Samurott is incredible. And you should see Big Joe 444297238 with his Gengar out. And you're like, what? How did we get here?
Yeah,
what
exactly.
are these names?
I agree. Especially if these are people who have gone to invitationals and won their spot in a set of finals because of you should know what their real names are at this point. Unless there's something about just because in particular this is an but VGC is just as much as an esport. I don't know. Right, that they need to be protected or hide behind their aliases. I
think in League of Legends and Dota, they use their names just because the names appear over the character on screen.
Yeah.
And so it's easier for you to follow that instead of being big. I don't know. I'm going with Big Nate. Big Nate is XX Slayer 420 XX, and you're like, it's hard to remember two things, so you just say XXX Slayer 420. But when it I don't know. In Pokémon Tournament, it's two people, and your username I don't think appears in the game, and they're going to overlay the name over it anyways.
I'm pretty sure it does.
Does it?
Pretty sure.
But that's not as confusing to follow as a MOBA where it's 5 people versus 5 people. It's just 1 versus 1. I think there's I don't know. I feel like I relate better to real names. I mean, Ray Rizzo, Wolf Glick, Aaron Zhang, these are names.
Cybertron, you mean?
Cybertron. Thank you very much.
These are names that people recognize in the VGC, and then in the TCG, you have Jason Klzinski, and you have Ross.
J. Clay?
J. Clay. It was just jarring in the show to go from real name to then username.
Yep. Agreed.
I mean, you're talking to a person that can't remember people's real names, but I can remember their Twitter handles. So, that doesn't bother me.
I would be curious, though, if people who have never listened to a podcast before, because, I got really lucky with SEO back in the day. And if you go to iTunes and you search Pokemon Podcast, we come up first. So it's not like it's hard to find the show.
And we're going to win an award soon.
Hopefully. But to get a person to be like, I wonder if there's a Pokemon podcast. That's the struggle. Because if they go to iTunes, they type it in, they find it, and they listen to it, and they don't like it, we tried. Not going to appeal to everyone. But there are plenty of people that haven't even thought or considered looking at a Pokemon podcast. So I'd be curious if somebody's never listened to a podcast, they listen to the Play Pokemon podcast, they like it, the Play Pokemon podcast ends, and then they go, I wonder if there are other Pokemon podcasts to listen to, and then they'll find that there's a ton of shows out there. But it's cool for them to do this. I think I told the story, I don't know if I told the story on the podcast, where I was like trying to reach out to Nintendo and stuff back in the day to get copies of Pokemon. And they would always, when I would ask and reach out, like, hey, I'm a content creator, they would be like, well, what's your YouTube? And at the time, I didn't do YouTube. I started doing YouTube this year because I was producing so much Twitch content that not everyone could watch, that we moved it over to YouTube. I would always say, like, I'm not a YouTuber, I'm a podcaster. And their response was, oh, we don't do podcasts. And it was like, it's like this weird time where now Nintendo does do a podcast. It's like the Nintendo Power Podcast that comes out once a month. And now it's like this really weird time where the Pokemon Company is doing a podcast. So being told for so long that like, oh, we don't do podcasts. And now it's like, okay, cool. You guys now. But I also feel like every corporate company is not a real thing. Every company, I feel like, is doing a podcast, just like every company like needs a Twitter. Tide has a Twitter, but I don't think anyone goes like, oh man, I really like laundry detergent. Oh god, good thing Tide is on Twitter. I would love to follow to get updated on new scents they tweet. Like, you
don't know me.
Wow, I've been off Twitter for a real long time, but now you just gave me a reason to get back on. I love Tide's options of scents. I'm a Tide dude.
I feel like it's a very common thing now with like just companies is, can we do a podcast? And if we can do it, how are we going to do it? But cool to see them do it. I thought it was worth listening.
Oh, I agree.
I'll get to it.
Some other news here off Pokemon.com. The Pokemon TCG True Steel Premium Collection.
What's that?
I'm glad you asked. If you're looking to add some steely might to the Pokemon trading card game, call upon legendary Pokemon of the Galar region. The Pokemon TCG True Steel Premium Collection celebrates the powerful Zacian and Zamazenta with 2 sets. They come with figures and pins, and then they come with 6 booster packs. They're $30.
Are the booster packs good?
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Can you see the booster packs in the image?
Yes.
What do we got? We got your favorite X and Ys. You got your favorite Sunses and Moonses and solar eclipses, and
it looks like we have
Darkness of Fire.
Looks like we have an Unbroken Bonds, which is pretty sought after right now. It's an older set though. We got Rebel Clash, 2 Rebel Clashes. It looks like. Oh, gosh, what has Raichu on the cover? That might be XY Evolutions actually, which sought after because of that Charizard in it. It looks like we have a Burning Shadows, also sought after because there happens to also be a Charizard in that one.
Are they just going to put out Charizard, Darkness Ablaze Charizard,
let me
charring your blazes Charizard?
Tell you there is indeed a Charizard in Darkness Ablaze.
But what if they just skipped it and just put out an all Charizard? Every type of Charmander, Charizard, Charmeleon, just that's all the cards. It's just an entire fire.
No, see, no one likes Charmeleon or Charmander. People just want the Charizard.
You have to have them.
People just want the Charizard
into the Charizard.
No, that's not true. You get Charizard V. That's a base Pokemon. You don't need the ones below it.
I mean, we could, sprinkle them some Cinderace.
Nobody wants Cinderace.
Everybody wants Cinderace.
Oh, speaking of Cinderace, in the Play Pokemon podcast, I don't know if you noticed this, Will, in the video game part, they kept bringing up stats. they kept saying like, oh, Rillaboom's number 1 on the leaderboard and Togekiss is number 3 and like
Incineroar is number 2.
Yes, Dragalge is like number 18 or something. This is my question. Are they using Pikalytics for that, a non-official Pokemon source to talk about on an official Pokemon podcast, or do they actually have stats?
They have stats, dude.
You think so?
Stats.
You think 100% they see the stats?
That database is getting populated for every single battle that occurs on their system. If they're not doing that, then I want them fired because...
What is the point of being connected online if they aren't stealing my data and learning how I play the game?
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm not saying Game Freak doesn't have stats, but Game Freak would be the ones receiving the stats, and then they would have to send it over to the fine people working at the Pokemon Company in Washington.
Are you saying that the Pokemon Company does not automatically get those reports? Because that's pretty much how businesses work.
Not even reports. I can guarantee that they have like an app that's built on some platform that's like literally called like Pokemon Battle Stats that's like real time updated. You can just go and you have a dashboard of like, here's all the Pokemon that have been used.
Yeah, but where did they copy and paste it from?
The GTS. Remember when GTS had that running on the website? Yep. They just took that and slapped it up there. They actually probably have it on monitors all around their call center, and they just have like the ticker tape going top 10.
Well, I mean, usually after...
Sell Rillaboom sounds special. Extra bonus if you sell Rillaboom right now.
Usually after like a tournament like the May International, they do post like the top 20 Pokemon being used, but I don't think they ever show percentages.
Not to the public, but they have them internally.
Yeah, I know they... I'm not saying they don't have them. I'm just saying...
So the official Pokemon people on their official Pokémon podcast have access to those official Pokémon stats.
Yeah, why don't you think that Game Freak would share? That's what I don't understand.
Because Game Freak is so bad at communicating.
To you, not to their overlords.
Why do we have this event? What is the reason?
Because who cares about the consumer? You need to keep your overlords happy. That's the bottom line. Shareholders 100%. First, then consumers, then businesses, then your artists, and then like at 400th place is the consumer.
Oh, okay.
And then after that's employees. Employees are always at the bottom.
Final bit of news here.
And Japan's at the very bottom because they don't tell those people anything.
Yeah, they don't have internet out there. Final bit of news is Darkness Ablaze is available. It's out. It's here.
How many Darkness Ablaze packs did you open?
0. I have not gotten my order yet. I did order
then your Twitch stream was a lie.
No, well, are we talking real packs or digital packs? I've opened...
Doesn't matter. I asked a simple question. How many did you open?
I opened 100 digital packs. I have opened 0 real packs.
Why are you throwing money away? Everybody knows that you trade packs for the Pokemon you want.
That's true. I opened the packs, which ruined... Actually, I had some sick, gnarly opens, Will.
Did you get all the Eternatus?
You had some gnarly
and the
pulls,
Charizards?
as those of us in the TCG world call them.
I pulled some gnarly Pokemon. True.
Some gnarly digital cards that mean nothing.
Don't take away from
want that Frostmoth.
Take away from my Pokemon. I think the 2 best cards that you could probably pull from the set is Crobat V. The year is 2020. Crobat is relevant again. And Eternatus VMAX, although I guess Eternatus VMAX is not useful without Eternatus V. But why? Because you can't just play the VMAX. You gotta play the V and then play the VMAX on top of it.
Oh.
What? Are they doing break cards again?
Well, VMAX cards are on top of the V cards.
I was not aware of that mechanic. I'm out.
Whatever. But on Pokemon.com.
This is why we're having a lawsuit. It's what that is.
On Pokemon.com, they showcase the cards like they always have, but they've actually showcased them in a way. Oh, there's 185 cards in this set. They've showcased them in a way where they show you them working together, which I feel like they might have done this before, but I don't feel like they do it often. I just want to go through this. They showcase Eternatus VMAX with Crobat V. And they actually say why it's relevant here. So Eternatus's VMAX's Dread End does 30 damage for each dark Pokemon in play. Plus, play Crobat V, which is a dark Pokemon, and use its Dark Assist ability to draw more cards, hopefully finding more dark Pokemon in play. Also, you could probably put Crobat V in like any deck, but it works good here. And then they have 4 cards, and they all have the same move, which is called Mad Party. And then Mad Party, so it's a Bunnelby, a Dedenne, a Poltegeist, and a Mr. Rhyme.
Oh, that's funny.
Mad Party does 20 damage for each Pokemon in your discard pile that has the Mad Party attack. If you haven't played the TCG, you're probably like, what? What does that mean? But they actually compare it to something here on the website. Reminiscent of old Night March decks from X and Y series, Bunnelby, Dedenne, Poltegeist, and Mr. Rhyme all have the Mad Party attack, which does 20 damage per Pokemon in your discard pile that has the Mad Party attack. Discard as many cards as you can to do some damage. So you would probably never play Mr. Rhyme down or Poltegeist down because they're evolutions of cards. You would just want to discard them. And so if you're familiar with Night March and the Night March mechanic, this is the new Night March. They're just renamed Mad Party.
Are we spoiling this for the children, Greg?
No.
Okay.
And the last combo they show on the website is Rose and Rose Tower. Rose, which is a supporter card. You're allowed to play 1 supporter card on your turn. Rose lets you attach 2 basic energies cards from your discard pile to one of your Pokemon VMAX. Ironically, that works really good with Eternatus. But it comes at the cost of discarding your entire hand. But Rose Tower, which is a stadium card, will let you draw 3 cards to get a fresh hand. So very good. If you have Rose and another card in your hand, you discard you play Rose, put 2 energies on, discard the other card in your hand. But with Rose Tower, you draw 3 more cards, and you can continue your turn. So that combo is also very good. I don't know, Pokemon Company. If you're listening, I know there are people that work there that listen to our show. Do more of this. This is really, really good. Explain like why these cards work together in a very simple way.
Yeah.
Also, the Card Decks app got an update. It is still useless as there is no account or cloud saved. I have never made an iOS app. I know plenty of people that have made iOS apps. I'm pretty sure it's really easy to use Apple's iCloud save feature in your app.
I mean, you would think because they want to move people towards that. Yeah. Maybe they don't want to use iCloud. I don't. If only they had like something called like a trainer club account that links to the Pokemon trading card game online app and links to, I don't know, Pokemon Go as well. If only they had like a system in place that they could link to the Card Decks app.
What a world that would be, right? But we don't live there.
For anyone that doesn't know, there's an official Pokemon app in the on Android and iOS called Card Decks, and what it does is it catalogs your collection. So if you bought a bunch of cards, if you bought a set of Darkness Ablaze, and you're like, I want to collect them all, but with real money, you can use the camera on the back of your phone and scan, just hold it over the card, and then it will add it to the collection. So you can open up a booster pack, scan the 10 cards, be like, oh, I already had this one, or oh, I didn't have this one. Add it to your collection. But if you were to transfer your data to a new phone and set up as new, or you lost your phone and you need a new phone, or your kid hit the erase and install button on your phone, or just delete it, if you delete the app on accident, you're riding a bike, you're holding a coffee, you're Pokeball Plusing, your finger is on the Card Decks app for too long, it starts doing the jiggly thing, you accidentally hit the X, you deleted it, all your data is gone. In an app about cataloging your data, why would anyone use this if there was not a backup feature? It's very frustrating. So still cannot recommend that. That's it. That's all the news. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break. It'll be the interview with Joshua Yehl. We talk Detective Pikachu to Sword and Shield to childhood memories of getting into Pokemon. So we will be right back.
Who's your favorite Pokemon? Who's your favorite Pokemon? Who's your favorite Pokemon?
Man Chomp, Man Chomp, Man Chomp. Vapor Man, Vapor Man, Vapor Man.
Who's your favorite Pokemon? Who's your favorite Pokemon?
Scootaloo,
Who's your
Scootaloo.
favorite Pokemon? Who's your favorite Pokemon? Who's your favorite Pokemon?
Dudo, 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 Dudo. Vapor Man, Vapor Man, Vapor Man.
Who's your favorite Pokemon? Who's your favorite Pokemon?
Whomper.
We are back from our break, and we are here with Joshua Yehl from IGN.
Hey, how's it going, Steve?
Good. How are you?
I'm all right.
It's as good as we can be in this weird pandemic era. We've done tons of interviews on the show. We've had Dan Reichert from Giant Bomb. We've had Austin Creed from WWE. I still don't know how we got him on to talk about Pokemon, but I'm going to be asking Joshua a bunch of questions, Pokemon and IGN related, for our listeners or for anyone coming over. And some are probably like maybe obvious questions if they consume you or follow you on Twitter.
Well, I hope you're not consuming me. Oh, gosh.
So sorry in advance if you're like, I just tweeted that a week ago.
No problem.
Before we start, you work at IGN. For anyone who doesn't know, what do you do?
Yeah, I've been working at IGN over 6 years now. Yeah, I moved to Los Angeles 6 years ago to work at IGN, and I am a senior editor and producer of features, which means I just write and talk and make videos about everything, like movies, video games, TV, comic books, you name it.
That's awesome. And Pokemon is one of those things.
Yes, Pokemon is a huge passion of mine. It's funny, I got hired through the entertainment section of the site, which is generally just movies, TV, and comics. And then we have another office where there's video games, but I'm a frequent guest at the games office. And actually now we're merged and we're one big office, but the games folks know me because they're like, okay, Pokemon guy, he's here again.
I want to dive in deep with all the Pokemon stuff, but because we brought up IGN, because Sword and Shield was so controversial at the time, I feel like it still is. How was the whole National Dex stuff for you guys, where there was an obvious divide in Pokemon fans that were just okay with it, and then fans that were not okay with the people that were okay with it?
Yeah, it was very polarizing. I think the conversation had on IGN was similar to what was happening elsewhere, of just that some people were super passionate about it. And I think, yeah, they have right to feel the way they feel. But then some people actually are like me, who don't strive to collect every last Pokemon and need every last Pokemon to be present in the game. And they're like, oh, well, that's a little disappointing, but I'll be fine.
Yeah. So Casey at IGN reviewed Sword and Shield.
Yes.
I guess your input is not in that review, so what did you think of it?
Yes, I will just say as a disclaimer that Casey DeFreitas, her review is the standing review of the site, and anything I say is my own personal opinion and doesn't affect or detract from her review or her score or anything. So I was just in love with the Galar region and all the new Pokemon. And I'm someone who didn't look at any of the spoilers, and I just want to go in and play it and experience everything for the first time. And I got such a kick out of just catching all these new Pokemon and watching what they turn into. I thought the creature design in this generation was fantastic, as well as the region and everything. The gym leaders were all awesome this time around, and how they elevated what a gym match could be, and where it's a match like a sporting event in front of a huge crowd. Loved that. That music that comes in, I won't try and sing it, but the chanting, the Dynamax chant.
It's good.
Oh man, so good. So I loved all those things about it. The one thing I just really don't like, and if people do follow me on Twitter, they know this already, is that I just wish the games were more challenging again. Like like give me just like the Gen 5 level of difficulty and I'd be happy. But the games, they're made for, I think, children, and that's like their target audience, and to please them, I think they took away a lot of the friction and resistance and the the ability to fail. But I think you need that. I think you need that in Pokemon, right? That's like Ash Ketchum's like biggest lesson is that you can still have a good time and make friends, despite the fact that you didn't win the Pokemon Championship until Alola.
Do you follow the anime, or is that just everyone knows that he won whether they watched it or not?
I watch it intermittently. Like I'll like tune in and watch a big chunk of a season and then kind of fade away, and then I'll come back when something catches my attention. I did watch, of course, the show when I grew up from the start, but then trailed off. Around the time the GS ball mystery, I was like, "Where's the payoff?" But then, yeah, I've come back. The one where is it Pokemon Journeys? Is that the Netflix one?
Yes. Yep.
I thought that was really cool. And then the Pokemon Twilight Wings, which is the online mini series, I thought that was so good. I wish the main series would borrow from that.
Mentioned that you grew up playing Pokemon, so did that always stick with you? Did you I'm not sure, like, what was the first game you played, I guess?
Pokemon Red, and my brother got Pokemon Blue, and it just like Ash Ketchum was like up late the night before trying to decide what a starter was going to be. I had that same crisis. Very relatable, Ash. And I ended up going with Bulbasaur, and had a great time with that game. Yeah, and then but I played that game like to death.
That was like before all the free-to-play games and 800 games coming out a day. You got one game as a kid, and you got that until like Christmas, so you play.
Yep, and if you wanted to play with somebody else, you had to link your Game Boy to theirs with a link cable. Remember that? And that's the only way you could do multiplayer, like to battle somebody else or to trade.
Yeah, my parents refused to buy me a link cable because...
What?
Because they thought it was a waste of money. Because what was a game back then? Like 30, maybe $35, and a link cable was like 15, half the cost of a game. So they were your friends have the link cables. We don't need you to have one.
That's fantastic. That's funny. I actually have a funny story about link cables. So maybe you don't know about this because you didn't have one, but there was this trick where you could trade a Pokemon from one game to another and yank out the link cable at the right moment, and it would clone the Pokemon. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, that's how I got my Mew.
Right.
Because they wouldn't take me to Toys R Us either.
So my friend, he gave me a Mew, and then, because he cloned it, and then, or maybe he got it from like a Game Shark or whatever, the equivalent for that was. But I remember getting a little power hungry and cloning not just the Mew, but like Mewtwo's and all the starters and everything, and I was like, oh yes, I have all these Pokemon. I'm so strong now. And then I did it one more time, and then when I turned the game back on, the all my memory had gone away, and it had been factory reset. My save file with all 151 Pokemon and all my powerful clones were gone.
That was the life back then.
But twist, I called Pokemon customer service completely upset. And they sent me a new cartridge with all 150 Pokemon on them.
What?
Best customer service experience of my life happened
This
when I
sounds
was
like a playground story.
No, I swear. And I still have it to this day in like a bin somewhere. But the thing that bugged me is I think they just have a bunch of cartridges with the game complete just lying around or something, because the player name was Dragon. And that always bothered me because I'm like, my name's not Dragon. Why would you name yourself Dragon? My name's Joshua.
That definitely sounds like something you would hear like on the playground, though, of like a 10-year-old being like, oh, I called Nintendo and they sent me a new copy.
The funny part is that they didn't tell me they were going to send me the game. They just heard my story and said, let me talk to your dad. And I was like, okay. And so then my dad didn't tell me what was going to happen. So it just arrived one day in the mail, and I was like losing my mind. I was like, oh my God.
Growing up, did you have the Pokemon fallout where you got teased, made fun of, Pokemon not cool? You had to like keep your secret away from people? Because that was like me with Gen 3. I had to skip it because I was in middle school at that point, and if you were playing Pokemon, I was already uncool, but playing Pokemon put me even more uncool.
Mm-hmm. I feel that. So Gen 3 is like your lost generation.
Yeah, I mean, to this day I've gone back to it, but that was the one I completely skipped at the time.
Yeah, I think I was age appropriate. I think I was in middle school, so it was fine that I was into Pokemon, and all my friends were too. Actually, I didn't have many friends, but all the other kids were into Pokemon. And but it got to the point where it did at a lot of places where it was just so crazy that it had to be banned from the school. And I remember somebody stole a Zapdos out of my binder. It was just there 1 second, it was gone the next, and it was a bad day for young Joshua. But I actually skipped a lot of generations because I played the first like couple games and then just kind of moved on to other stuff. And so it wasn't until I think like college or a couple years after that I just randomly decided to pick up Black 2 for some reason.
Okay.
I don't know. I just started there.
A weird one to start with.
I didn't even start with like Black 1 and White 1. I just went right into that one. And that kind of reignited Pokemon for me. But yeah, so I missed some middle generations there for sure.
And what about Pokemon Go? I mean, everyone played it the week it came out, the month it came out, really. But did that capture your interest? Are you still playing it? I mean,
oh yeah, that took over my life when it came out, and for a long time after that. But it's again something that I'll put to the side for a while, but then something will inevitably like draw me back in, and I'll get playing again, and I'll get re-obsessed, and I'll have to like try and catch up on all the things I missed and everything. But actually, when you put it down for a while, it's actually a little bit more fun when you come back because everything is new and you're constantly getting like new stuff that's really fun and cool. Or you're getting things that were really rare and scarce and valuable before, like maybe months earlier or even a year earlier. So that's a small little benefit. But yeah, I love Pokemon Go.
You reviewed the Detective Pikachu movie.
I did for IGN.
Has your thoughts or stance changed on that movie since? Sorry, we're jumping around. I'm just looking through my list of questions. I was like, how am I going to fit in the Detective Pikachu? This one will be good. It's been over a year now since that movie came out.
Yeah, you know what? I love that movie. The plot kind of goes off the rails and it gets a little too confusing. Like I still to this day could not explain like what the whole like motive of like Mewtwo and the plan was and everything there. But just that it brought Pokemon
like most
to
things
life.
In Pokemon.
Right. But just that it brought Pokemon to life in such vivid, authentic detail was just it meant the world to me. And just all the Pokemon felt so real and they were acting like appropriately and had like the right like personalities and everything. And just that it got the world of Pokemon correctly. And my favorite moment is when they go and Pikachu gets hurt and they go into the forest and the Bulbasaur are there. That's like straight out of like a Miyazaki movie, right? Like that is just like this wonderful, beautiful Pokemon experience. And they really got it right.
Besides the plot, I just loved everything about that movie, and the plot didn't even matter. I was like, I'm looking, as long as there's a new Pokemon every like 1 minute, I'm good.
Yes, they certainly had that. But I actually got to visit the set of Detective Pikachu when they were filming it, and that was like a life-changing experience. That was spectacular. It was the scene where they go to the underground fight club and Pikachu fights Charizard. So we got to walk out onto like the battle arena. So walking onto like a life-size full battle arena, where the lines are painted on the ground for the Pokemon. There's like a circle in the middle and the trainer boxes on either side, and then there's like claw marks and scratches and burns like on the pavement, like it's been worn, like it's been used a lot and seen a lot of Pokemon battles. All these Pokemon trainers and just viewers, on the outskirts behind the cage in like Pokemon fashions. They each had sort of like a glowing like diode, like a little like wire attached to them, and that's where their Pokemon would be. That's like the tracker for their Pokemon. And then for the fight, they had two people holding up parts of a Charizard. One had the head and one had, I don't know, another part, like it was like, I think it was the tail. And were in green screen suits and they were running around, doing Charizard's movement as just like a placeholder for where he would be. Then another guy was on the floor holding Pikachu, and then Ryan Reynolds was not there, but they were playing his lines over the loudspeaker, and he was like acting out where the Pikachu was. And then they had the live action actor, Justice Smith, there among all this. I'm sure he felt really silly just playing around with these guys in green screen suits and holding Pokemon body parts, but it was the coolest thing.
If you didn't work at IGN, I would be like, no, that's another playground story that you're telling me and that you're lying to me.
You know what? Yeah, you said earlier that like you weren't cool, and I feel that, but I think you're awesome, man. But like, I'm not a cool person, but I've had a lot of cool things happen to me, thanks to my job, at IGN. So just my thing is just sharing those cool experiences, with all the people.
So you said earlier that you get to choose kind of what you want to write about. And I believe how I discovered you is you were posting like more TCG stuff and Pokemon TCG stuff. And I don't think until recently, I feel like IGN has ever really covered the Pokemon trading card game. I mean, I would assume that part of it is because you genuinely like it, but another part is I'm assuming it's also getting clicks. Otherwise, you probably would have stopped reporting on it if it wasn't gaining any traffic. But is that pretty much the process of like, hey, I think that if we report on Darkness Ablaze, that people are going to come to the website and check it out?
It's kind of a mix of everything you just said, right? This is a really long conversation that, but the short version is, if I think something is cool and interesting, I generally have just full freedom to write about it, or make a video about it, or do something with it, and cover it for the site. They just trust me to use my good judgment and good taste that I won't like waste their time or anything, or do something silly. But yeah, so I just love the Pokemon card game. It's like my favorite aspect of the Pokemon franchise. And so I just, I remember when I first kind of got into it as an adult, because I played it as a kid, and then like I said, I kind of stopped playing Pokemon. But then a few years ago, I was actually hanging out with some friends, and they were all into playing Magic the Gathering. And I was like, yeah, I appreciate this is like a really well-designed game, but it's not for me. Like, I want to play like my card game. And so I went with a friend and we bought some Pokemon starter decks. And
how it all begins.
And then it got me. I was right back in it, and I was obsessed, and I was like building meta decks like a week later. But when that that rush came to me, I decided, because I was passionate about it, that I wanted to write about it for the site, not knowing how it would do. It's just kind of a test. It actually did like impressively well. And from then on, I just continued to sparingly write about the Pokemon trading card game. It's not like a major beat for us,
right?
But I generally wait until there is something cool, fun, or interesting that happens in the card game that I think maybe a more general fan of Pokemon, or just of nerd culture in general, would find interesting. Sometimes it's that there was a Charizard GX, like the shiny Charizard card, that sold for like over $10,000. Who doesn't want to hear about that, right?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Or if I have an article going up about how there's I think the way I phrased it was like, this Bunnelby can kill God, and it's like, it's just a Bunnelby card that when when it meets the Mad Party criteria of having enough Pokemon in the discard pile with the Mad Party attack, it can do 300 damage, which is enough to knock out the Arceus, Dialga, and Palkia card, which has 280. So that's just my way of just trying to make things relatable for people, or to make them turn their head and go, wait, what? I want to learn more about that. And then I've tricked them into reading a deck profile.
And then they're on Amazon adding booster packs to their cart. You're super into Marvel, Star Wars, Pokemon. That's a lot of very passionate and very, I would say, argumentative fans that like to argue.
Mm-hmm.
Is that not exhausting for you?
Well, I don't usually get into the arguments because I just like to talk about what I love about these things. And I don't choose sides. Like some people are like only Marvel or only DC. I'm like, why not both? Like they're both like so good. And sure, there are things that I like about one and not the other, and and vice versa. But that's the same with anything. And I would rather just have more good stuff than try and like choose sides and argue with people on the internet, which is like the most pointless thing ever. And yeah, just have a good time and just share my love and enthusiasm for things rather than anything else.
I feel like this is maybe a relatively new thing on the internet. Well, new being maybe in the last 2 years of just you guys or other outlets reviewing a game and then it just getting review bombed on Amazon or Metacritic and stuff. Even a game that just came out, Fall Guys, got review bombed because the servers weren't working.
Yep.
I guess the answer is it's not going to affect you guys and what you do at your job, but I'm sure that is something talked about or looked at or is at least covered in the news of like, this is not a good solution to these people's problems, is giving it 1 star on Amazon. Or maybe it is. I don't know. Maybe it works. I can't. It didn't work for Sword and Shield. The game sold 18 million despite being review bombed on both Amazon and Metacritic.
Yeah, that's a whole conversation, isn't it? Of just, I think people are just looking for an outlet when they're displeased, and that's a place they know they'll be heard or at least be seen, right? Because they know that's something they can influence to show their displeasure with something. And it's such like it's a multifaceted issue because fan feedback has never been more instant and never had a bigger impact. And sometimes it's people being trolls and people being jerks, and it's very toxic. But sometimes you could argue that it's good. Like Sonic the Hedgehog, people were very clear that they're like, no, that's not Sonic, that's nightmare fuel. And
Yeah.
And then now Sonic, after the redesign, is I think the most profitable video game movie ever, right? And so it really worked out for them because they listened to fan feedback. But I do think there is a balance that needs to be struck. I don't know if we will ever get there, but it is very difficult, especially because I think when one kind of studio gives in to the fan demand, you then have a sense of entitlement for people who are think, okay, well they listened and they got what they want, so now I'm going to get what I want, and it's sort of like, it's very childish, right? So I think if people were a little more reasonable about it and didn't just, take out their anger on a property or a game by review bombing it, I think we'd all be, a little, we'd all be a little less stressed. But I do see online that, I'm not sure which outlet it is. Was it Metacritic? Or one of the review aggregate.
I think it's
sites.
Metacritic.
They added a 24-hour window where you couldn't you had to wait before and play the game or watch the movie or whatever before you got a chance to actually review it, and that was in an effort to not have those knee-jerk reaction review bombs.
Yeah.
So I think doing things like that it's a good solution. Like most people get angry in a moment and then it passes. So I think if you don't give them the ability to review bomb something in the moment, maybe that is a good solution. I don't really know the results of that test they did with that, but I think that's a step in the right direction. Of some people don't have any chill, so you have to enforce a little chill.
Yeah. Do you guys? I'm assuming I can't say the last time I've looked at IGN comments, but I'm assuming you guys still have people upset about just a number and didn't read the review.
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be people like that, but no, we do talk a lot about reviews and how they're did we get across what we wanted to? What does the number mean? We've actually recently gone from having a 100-point scale, which is where you have like a decimal point where something could be like, I gave this a 5.2 or a 7.9. And now we're doing a 10-point scale where it's all just whole numbers where it gets to a 7, an 8, a 9, a 10. And it's just like that because we found that people were really focusing on those decimal points. And they were like going to like another game that got like a 7.3, and they're like, well, this game got a 7.1, but how could you? And it's like they were focusing on the number too much. So by making the numbers less granular and making them whole numbers, the idea was it would move the conversation off the number and back onto the game, which is the whole reason we write a review in the first place. And I do commend other outlets that have just done away with numbers at all. But when you do that, you don't wind up on sites like the review aggregates, and your review reaches less people. So I think that's another reason in favor of keeping the numbers there. But yeah, I mean, reviews will always be a hot topic, no matter where you are on the internet, IGN or elsewhere.
I think and I don't know, maybe you guys have seen success with this. I think your video reviews have been great. Like, you can scroll down, you can see the number, and then you go, this is a lot of, I don't want to read this, but then you just press play and pretty much somebody's reading it to you at that point.
Yeah, I even before I worked at IGN, I always loved the video reviews just because they were so in depth and they illustrated what they were talking about with the game or with movie or TV show or whatever's being reviewed. And that IGN was always a dependable place for me to go to get a good look at a game before I went to buy it.
Speaking of video, too, I saw you on a podcast right after they announced Pokemon Snap. Everyone seemed pretty pumped about that.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those games that for like, original OG Pokemon fans like you and me, that game like hit the sweet spot of just being kind of like I was saying about Detective Pikachu, of just bringing the world of Pokemon to life in a really fun, novel way. And I think people now who've like played Pokemon Go and stuff and didn't play Snap would be like, well, what's the big deal? You're just taking pictures of them. I can put a Bulbasaur in my living room and take a picture of it on the table, with Pokemon Go. But no, it wasn't just taking pictures, right? It was like it was a puzzle game. It was on a timer, right? And you had to like do things in a certain order and beat the timer, because if you took too long throwing your apples at the Charmeleon, you'd miss the photo of Charizard, right? So there was all these things you had to learn and unlock about this game, and it rewarded replaying it over and over again. And then of course there was that beautiful psychedelic space level where you could get a perfect 10,000 point picture of Mew at the end. That's just like, that's the dream, right? for Pokemon fans. Like, that's just like, it just encapsulates the Pokemon experience in a way that's not the traditional Pokemon formula of like catching and battling, but it's still just as awesome. So I think, yeah, there's a lot of hype for new Pokemon Snap, and I can't wait to play it.
I think it has big shoes to fill. With, I think in the original, it was relatively short, although as a kid it would probably seem like the most fulfilling game ever, but only like 63 Pokemon. I think like 6 levels, and then the 7th level was that I never heard anyone describe it as psychedelic, but yeah, the psychedelic space level. It's Pokemon, so I can't imagine they don't put a $60 price tag on it. But what do you think there's anything they need to do? Like, does it have to hit at least 500 Pokemon? Does it have to have this amount of levels? Like, I feel like games have such high... People want so much more out of a $60 game nowadays, I feel like.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they do the thing where they're constantly adding new content. It's one of those kind of games as service kind of things. They haven't said what it's going to be, but I could actually see that happening. Like, just starting with like a base adventure, and then every couple months, a couple times a year, they come out. Imagine that they're like, oh, here's another level where we've like hidden 50 new Pokemon, because there's over 1,000 Pokemon now. There's plenty to get through. There's no way it's all going to be in the base game, and I think it would be unrealistic for people to expect them all to be in the base game at least.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that would be cool. Now that I'm talking about it, I think it would be cool. I think it's going to be obvious that they're going to have like all the fan favorites in there, and then a couple unexpected ones and stuff. But I think what it needs to have, it does need to have that sort of element of tension where you're on, like, I don't want it to be like where you can just go off into the wild and take pictures. I actually want it to be on rails because that was part of the puzzle game, right?
Right.
Like you had to stay on the path it put you on and do everything within a certain amount of time. And that was what made it fun and addicting and you wanted to like run it again and again and again until you got it right and you found everything. So I definitely want to keep that core experience in the game. And then I wouldn't be opposed to them just expanding the game as a service.
It's worked for Animal Crossing.
Hey.
Is there any Pokemon memory that stands out to you in the last 20 some years that you haven't brought up? I mean, you got back in with Gen 5, Zapdos stolen on the playground.
Don't bring it up. I will say that when I got back into the TCG a few years ago, I was just adamant about doing it very casually because there was like the World Championship you could qualify for, but I thought that was just like too much. But last year, one of my friends actually qualified and I thought, wow, I was like so impressed. And I was like, well, wait a second. If he can do it, I can do it. So I tried my hand at qualifying for the Pokemon World Championships. To cut to the end of that story, I did it. And that was in March of this year, or was it the end of February? Yeah, whatever the it was like on was it Dallas or Knoxville? It was the end. It was like a big regional tournament.
Houston?
I think it was Knoxville. It wasn't Houston. I think it was in Knoxville.
Okay.
But
It's like right before COVID, right?
Right, it was on the cusp, right? I think we had just heard about it, and we weren't really taking any safety precautions yet, and like nothing had been shut down yet. I do remember not shaking my opponent's hands and just being like, "Let's just do a fist bump," just because we didn't know anything about the virus at that point. But I was like, just for safety, we'll do fist bumps. But in that tournament, I actually did my career best placement. It had like 600 plus people, but I got 10th place.
Whoa.
And that awards you a bunch of championship points, and you need 500 to get a Worlds invite. And so that put me over the threshold. And so that was like one of the happiest moments I'd had because it had taken like 8 months of practicing, training, traveling to tournaments all around the US, playing in tournaments like pretty much every weekend or once or twice a week. And grinding, trying to get those 500 points. And I live in Southern California, in Los Angeles area, and it's like a super competitive area. Like millions of people live here, and there's like some of the best Pokemon players in North America all live in my neighborhood. So it's like it's really just to go to a league challenge, like you have to face the best of the best, and that's like the lowest level tournament. That's only worth 15 points. But anyways, as I was playing in these like regional tournaments, which are like the big, tournaments that have anywhere from like 500 to 1,000 people, I finally got, I was like doing better. Like I finished like 120th at one, and then I got like 110th at the next one, and then I got like 47th place in the next one, and I'm like, okay. And then the most recent one, I got 10th place, and I was like, wow, I'm getting like better and better, and now I have enough points to play in Worlds. Like I had so much momentum, and I was so happy. But then, of course, they canceled the World Championships and they postponed it till 2021. They are rolling over the invites, so I will get to play next year. Although there's this whole thing where they added an extra day onto the event for 2020 qualifiers. And then if you had gotten the proper amount of points for the next year, then you would skip that day and go. So it's like you kind of have to earn 2 invites to get a normal invite. It's this whole thing. Anyways,
yeah, well, hopefully things are better where there can be a Worlds next year.
I have my fingers crossed so hard they're about to break. But safety first. I wouldn't want them to rush or do anything before they're ready. But when you think about it, will it be safe to have an international convention where the players are going to come and sit in a room together for like 3 days on end and touch each other's cards and shake each other's hands and then like go eat nachos, will it be safe to do that a year from now? I don't know. I certainly hope so.
I hope so.
But I was extra excited for Worlds, not only for the chance to compete, which is its own cool thing, but it was going to be in London, and next year's will be in London as well. But I thought that because Sword and Shield, the Galar region is based off of Great Britain, and they were having the Worlds after Sword and Shield in London. I thought that was just too perfect and awesome. And I was very much looking forward to that, but it didn't happen. But
your best memory and your worst memory.
It
you
kind of
qualified,
at the same time.
but then didn't get to actually go.
But here, let me give you a happy memory, just to put a cherry on the top of this. I've never been like the most popular guy and don't have like a lot of friends, especially since I moved to Los Angeles. I find it really hard to like meet and keep like good friends. But when I started playing Pokemon, like the Pokemon community is like super nice and awesome, and everyone's just like automatically your friend because you're all just there to play Pokemon when you show up at these tournaments and stuff. So I have like a local store that I go to, and it was my birthday last year, and I didn't throw a birthday party for myself because I was like, I don't even think I know enough people who would show up and like celebrate my birthday. I know this is really depressing, everyone at home, sorry. But I went to weekly Pokemon League night just to play some cards. And then the whole group there surprised me and got me a birthday pie because they know I don't like cake. And they sang me happy birthday. And then some people even got me like cards as like a gift. And I was so moved. And I was just like, that is like the power of Pokemon there. Of just everyone is just so welcoming and awesome. And would do something like that for you. And I didn't even ask for it. And then so that is like my really happy Pokemon memory.
Dang. There was a lot in that last like 5 minutes.
It was a real emotional roller coaster.
Have you been to a world tournament? Just as a spectator?
I have as a spectator for a couple times. I was covering them for IGN.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they're really
I never
fun.
Played in one. No. It seemed so unattainable, which is why the memory of getting the invite was it was so special.
Yeah. I've been to 3, 4. And I've always told people if even if you can just attend and you're a Pokemon fan, it's just worth being around all those people.
Oh yeah, it's like Pokemon's Comic-Con or E3. It's pretty much a big Pokemon convention where people from all over the world just come in this big building and enjoy Pokemon together. And there's so much to do besides the competition of just hanging out. There's like Pokemon Go events and video games. There's side events and trading card game side events and little events. And then usually that's when they take the stage and unveil new things coming up in the Pokemon world, like new video games. Sometimes they announce new Pokemon. When the movie came out, that they had the Detective Pikachu cast come out and do like a wave. So yeah, a Pokemon World Championship is definitely like a must. It should be on the bucket list of every Pokemon fan.
Well, I don't want to eat up too much more of your time. I got one question, probably the hardest one of the interview.
Uh-oh.
What is your favorite Pokemon?
It is Psyduck. It's definitely Psyduck. I have a lot of love for a lot of different Pokemon, but it always comes back to Psyduck because he's just really stressed out all the time. And I can relate to that. But then when he unleashes the stress, once he gets focused, right, he does that thing where he like psychically lifts everybody into the air and like pebbles off the ground and becomes this unstoppable force once he gets his stuff together. So I like to think I can relate to that.
That's awesome. Well, Joshua, thank you for being on. I really, really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for having me on. Yeah.
Yeah. Where can my listeners find you? I mean, IGN, but should they look for something? Is it easier to find your Twitter, YouTube, anything like that?
Yeah, if you want to follow my daily ramblings where I talk about not just Pokemon, but Marvel, DC, Star Wars, Lady Gaga. You can follow me on Twitter, which is at Joshua Yehl. Last name is spelled Yehl. I don't know why it's spelled like that. Just go with it. And then on IGN, any given day I post content covering all the topics I'd mentioned and more. And you can find us on YouTube. On YouTube, we do IGN Now, which is like our daily news show, which is a show that I host, write, and produce as well. So if you ever need some nerd news, you can always go there.
Thank you again.
Yeah, thank you.
Who's your favorite Pokemon? Who's your favorite Who's your favorite Pokemon? Who's your favorite Pokemon? Who's your favorite
Pokemon. Rhino. Pokemon. 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 Munchausen.
Pokemon? Pokemon. Pokemon.
Articuno. Pokemon. Slicer. Pokemon.
Slicer. Who's your favorite Pokemon? Who's your favorite Pokemon? Who's your favorite Pokemon?
Whomper.
And we are back. We forgot some news.
What? You said we were done.
Sorry.
You said we would catch up next week.
It's
Why do you lie?
it's like-
This is why Pokemon Company created another podcast
Yup.
full of truths and not your
Truth.
lies.
Okay, before we get to the 30 seconds of news, number one is we were slightly mistaken last week about the podcast awards. You cannot vote. It doesn't let you vote anymore. So we did get nominated for a podcast award, so thank you to everyone who voted the first time around. So from the terms of service, which we still have to start a TOS podcast,
I'm in it. I'm on it.
500,000 people voted for different shows. I suspect 400 of the 500,000 people voted for our show, but that's cannot confirm or deny that. But for the second round of voting, which we're on right now, that ends at the end of the month, only 5,500 people from the 500,000 voters got sent an email to vote again. So, if you got that email, you are allowed to vote again for our show. If you did not get that email, you don't get to vote for round 2. I don't know why they did that, but that's a thing, I guess. So, fingers crossed that things work out, I guess. So, if you did vote, check your email. Should say podcast awards. Check your junk folder. You are specially selected to... I'm assuming the secondary votes have more weight. That would probably be my thought process.
Well, I think the
I would
secondary
imagine.
votes actually
Yeah.
have the vote, right? Like, they're the ones that are determining the award. What we did was to get the top 10 choices.
Yes.
So
Yeah, they did say there's
what
like
we
a-
did before means you got in, and now it's these 5,000 who are actually making the decision.
Right. Plus, I think there are like 8 judges
Yeah.
that are also helping with the decision. So that's that. 2 weeks left on our Kickstarter. That'll be in the show notes.
Oh, I got to contribute to that.
Kickstarter is
If my lawyer
up
will let me.
and available.
We'll talk about it.
We have images of what the cassettes look like now on the Kickstarter, and we just put up stretch goals this past week on the Kickstarter. So that's all there. So you got 2 weeks. We'll remind you because next week will be the last week. If you want to get the break music on CD or cassette, I mean it's digital download too, but and we're still working with the artist to do the books and stuff. So it'll be really cool. Okay, the news we missed. Coco, the movie, the one that's in the one that was supposed to come out in July but didn't come out in July, the Zarude and the Shiny Celebi one and everything like that. This is from Brandon from our Slack community. Comes out on Christmas.
Christmas Day?
Only in Japan.
Oh.
Japan, December 25th. They said they would delay it till the winter. They have decided on a date. It is Christmas in Japan, which I think is like a big KFC day. We'll have to check with Andrew. Pretty sure KFC is like... I remember... So Andrew is a resident Japanese correspondent.
Yep.
I remember him saying that like fast food restaurants will try to associate themselves with a holiday. So then they like have just record sales on that specific day. So KFC did that with Christmas, I think.
I mean, it's not a bad idea.
Yeah, I mean, KFC I don't think they deliberately associated. I think that was much more of a happenstance. They became associated with Christmas and thus make a lot of money over Christmas.
Didn't they also have a Final Fantasy 14 promotion? Was that KFC?
Who? KFC?
In Japan, I think.
Probably.
I felt like we reported on news where you had to order like a family meal to get like a giant chocobo, and then
Chinese Final Fantasy XIV players are eating inhuman piles of KFC to earn chocobos.
China, yeah, they wouldn't let you. You couldn't throw the food away, otherwise you wouldn't get the chocobo. We did report on this because it was that dumb.
Well, you can't be wasteful.
Is the Play Pokemon Podcast going to report on KFC in China? I think not.
I think not. You need to play the game. You're not going to, but you should.
Is there a free login period? Probably not.
Yeah.
There is?
You can play from levels 1 to 60 for free.
I passed that.
Well, then, nothing for free. You have the taste. You know what you can do.
Okay, but here's the thing. I have two 30-day codes that I bought. It was they did some sale or whatever on SquareEnix.com or .net. I don't even know what Square Enix owns. I bought it. I have to redeem those, and then they become active, and then the time is clicking. The time is clicking and or ticking. And then I gotta pay the $12 to move to Gilgamesh, which is overpopulated now.
You can move to anything on that server, like on that server bank, because world transfer is a thing.
Yeah, but I might as well move to where you are.
True, which I told you over a year ago, and you didn't listen to me.
I told you why I moved to an empty server,
and I told you why that was a dumb idea.
Well,
and
what's
I am living my
overpopulated
life free
now?
and clear and
And
happy.
who was right, Steve? I was.
Gilgamesh.
It was a dumb idea, and now you're trapped on an empty server.
I've not tried. Look, what is it? $12 to move? I'll pay the $12.
I think it's 10.
Let me tell you what happened, though, Greg. This game called Fall Guys came out, and all I want to play is Fall Guys, not Final Fantasy.
I'm going to have to look at this game because it just doesn't seem like it's any fun.
Oh.
So it probably isn't.
Oh, it's something.
When it's on Switch, tell me. Because apparently, if I play it on PC, I'm a cheater.
That's
Steve.
true. Yeah, the pro players are playing on PS4. That's very true.
Who's even a pro player?
Me?
That doesn't. Yo, you are not. You won like 3 crowns.
No. I'm up to
deal.
6 crowns now, Greg. Yeah, that's going on my LinkedIn profile.
It is not.
There you
Just
go.
check. You don't even have your shiny Pokemon on your LinkedIn. This is the fraud. This is why there's a lawsuit from me.
I still gotta
Speaking
add
of
that.
my LinkedIn profile, hold on. How do I see how many Snome I've knocked out?
On LinkedIn?
No. Wow. Yes. Where on my LinkedIn profile does it automatically update with the number of Snome that I've knocked out?
You didn't know that gave us a share of LinkedIn. In the Pokedex.
Where? I looked in the Pokedex. It doesn't say knocked out.
Yeah, it'll say Pokemon defeated.
Oh, I'm going to have to check that again later. I'm doing like 30 a day. That's got to get me to the big number soon.
Yeah, well,
Are you knocking them out or you're hatching them? Because hatching them doesn't
hatching
count.
them don't count.
Knocking them out.
Okay.
Knocking them out.
Hatching them don't count.
I paid attention during that portion of the podcast when we discussed improving your shiny odds.
I am literally on your LinkedIn profile now.
Whose?
And
Will's?
Yours.
Are we linked? Send me a request. I don't know if we're friends. We got to connect. We got to network, Greg.
You are a first connection. This is how you don't pay attention to your LinkedIn. This is why there's lies. I have been connected to you for years. Years! And you're sitting here telling straight up lies about your crown winnage.
Write me a recommendation.
For what? Will lie to you about his shiny count is what I'm writing right now.
Great entertainer, very funny, charismatic. Look, I'm writing it for you.
Skills and endorsement. My options are logo design. No.
I don't know. The
Adobe
ISC logo I
Creative
did
Suite,
too. It's pretty
no.
good.
Time management.
Well,
Sure.
Maybe.
Definitely not on that one.
I could maybe write an endorsement under podcasting after this lawsuit's.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, nothing now.
Nothing
I'm
now.
gonna ask
Nothing
everyone
now.
to up their Kickstarter pledge right now to help pay for the lawsuit.
3 accomplishments? 3 projects, yeah. Don't look at my LinkedIn.
Dang, I took a screenshot of those questions last week and now I can't find them. Well, they're gone forever at a time. Oh, wait. No, that's not it. Oh, I found it. Catherine writes in from our Slack community.
Yeah, what?
What? Oh, sorry. I got so
No,
excited.
just go.
All right.
Just go.
No song this
Just
week.
go. I'm done. I'm out.
Video.
I'm on strike. Strike. Don't even get a scab. I've already heard your scabs that you bring in to do these songs.
I'll make sure, okay, to make up for it, I'll make sure to recommend on LinkedIn the musical and whatever musical and dancing recommendation.
You are the worst.
Video on demand seems to be the current plan for a lot of movies these days. How much would you pay to rent or buy the new Pokemon movie if that option became available?
So by new Pokemon movie, we mean Coco.
Coco.
Or we could even say let's just say Detective Pikachu 2.
Ooh.
Didn't they say that like some movie Mulan is going to be like $40 to rent?
30.
30?
$29.99. It's $29.99.
Live
It's
action of
$30.
something that was already done better as a cartoon?
Well, we don't know that it was done better as a cartoon.
Oh,
I
but
mean,
trust me.
chances are very good that it was done better as a cartoon. But Disney Plus you'll be able to watch it for a $30 fee.
But you're already paying like $7 a month to get into Disney Plus.
Yeah?
Mm.
Well,
Look,
number
if
one,
you-
there's no
okay.
Disney in my house.
There is
so
in my house.
They can plus away all they want.
Okay, number one, if you go to a movie in New York City, which I did once, like even 20 years ago, that alone for 2 people was easily $30.
Yeah.
Easily. So a family of 4 having to pay $30 to watch Mulan to keep their kids quiet for however long that movie is, they will pay that money for the peace
am
of
not
mind.
a family of 4. I'm barely a family of 1.
Okay, well then I will drag the TV outside. We will socially distance, and that'll be 3 of us. You can bring whoever you want. That'll be a family
Can
of
I
4.
bring my cat?
That'll be a family of 5 and 2 dogs. It's a family of 7 for $30. It's a bargain.
I don't know if this works. Do you think this is going to work?
Yeah, it worked for Trolls.
Yeah, but Trolls wasn't $30. It was like 10, wasn't it?
Okay, and let's to clarify for the people who heard the word trolls and just thought like basically all the people that watch Steve on Twitch, Trolls World Tour was a movie.
Yes. And wasn't it like Marcus or AMC that got really mad and was like, we're not going to let
yeah.
you show movies in our theaters again?
They did do that. They did say, you know what? Nah, dog. Isn't it on Amazon Prime? Is that who released it?
I don't know. For a Pokemon movie, I would happily pay up to $4.99, but I would prefer to pay $1.99.
I think the most I would pay for a brand new movie that I couldn't see in theaters because of economic times would maybe be $15.
Oh, you would go that high?
If it was a new Detective Pikachu, I would probably pay up to $10.
But I strongly believe
okay.
that Netflix is going to just pay for a movie outright to show up Disney.
They would.
Wait, Netflix has already produced movies and yes, paid for movies outright. They produce their own movies.
Right, no, but I'm saying like they definitely paid for Mewtwo Strikes Back or whatever. So I could see them paying for Coco and being like Coco is exclusive on here just
for
to
free.
stick it to Disney and to stick it to these other platforms.
I would pay at most for a Pokemon movie in my home at most $2.99.
What? Why am I the bad guy at 15? I thought you guys were going to say like 10.
No. Okay, I would pay $10 for the movie theater experience. That has a great sound.
Yep.
It's a huge screen.
Yep.
In my home, I am not bothered by anything. I usually will go on a matinee or on a Tuesday, so it's $8. That is an experience I'm willing to pay for. Although Pokemon has a history of doing terrible movies, so when I went and saw The Power of Us, which was free, I wanted my money back for the time that I lost there. So given the fact that their track record is mostly abysmal.
Full disclosure, we got free tickets to the Power of Us.
I didn't get no free ticket to Power of Us.
Hey, I offered
did
you
I?
one.
Oh.
I took it. Remember, we were going to do something. Oh, we were recording B-Team, and I was at that instead because I went and saw it for free. So, given that, I would maybe pay $2.99. Like, if people said it was really good, but they'd have to say it was really, really good. Like, it's the best movie in years. And by people, I mean not Steve.
Yeah, basically.
I didn't say the Power of Us is good.
No,
Also-
but you think a lot of Pokemon movies are good that aren't.
No, I don't. I say they're okay.
So my other thing though is I just don't it's so rare for me to consume passive media if it's not YouTube skate vids. So
It's gonna call you out so hard because you so do. You watch skaters and bikers go down a bike trail, a POV bike race.
I
was there.
Freestyle bike videos. I watch skate vids from the 90s and early 2000s. Yes.
With that sweet
I don't
90s
watch-
skater tracks.
I don't watch movies that are movies. I don't watch TV shows that are TV shows. If it doesn't feature some dude doing like a front side 50-50 down a 9, I'm not interested.
So you wouldn't see Tony Hawk the movie, is what you're saying?
I mean, Tony Hawk ain't making no movies.
Now with that attitude, look, they're getting desperate.
The last movie I rented off iTunes, which was like a month ago, was the Sonic movie,
Ugh,
and it was all
I
right.
lost.
I want to see the original cut.
Yeah, release the Sonic director's cut. Cowards.
It was okay. It was worth. I think it was $5.99 to rent it.
Yeah, that's pretty standard.
But I thought it was worth the $6 at the end of the day. I mean, if it was a bad movie, I probably would have said different. I probably would have said it was not worth $6. But I was entertained for the 90 minutes or whatever, how long it was. I was like, yeah, that was a good use of my time. I laughed. It was funny. It was fine. It was Sonic.
It went real fast.
He did go fast. Yeah, I have no clue how good or bad Coco would be. But I feel like if for whatever reason it came out here on Netflix on Christmas Day.
If it came out here on Netflix for Christmas Day for free, I will watch it. I will watch just about anything Pokemon related for free.
I don't think the Pokemon Company and Disney are doing anything together anytime soon, but if for whatever reason it came on Disney Plus and they were like, you can watch it for $20.
No.
I don't think I can do that.
No.
No.
I
Not
mean,
unless there were like 8 to 10 of us in the room.
Correct.
And I was collecting $2 from each of you.
Venmo me your portion of the movie tickets.
Passing around the pan.
Like, if somebody says Mulan is excellent, like such a better version of it, I may consider. Maybe. But nah. Like, so I have Amazon Prime, and when I get to the thing where it says, like, you can rent this, I'm like, nope. I'm out. There's just so much for free. There's just so much for free.
I have Netflix. I turn it on. I scroll through. I'm like, there's literally nothing here I want to see. And I turn it off and go to a sick girl skateboard vid.
I need to see if Netflix has skateboard vids to lure you back into the Netflix family.
They do not.
Does Netflix not have Gleaming the Cube?
Get out of here with your trash mouth.
Will, give us our Pokemon of the week.
Last week's Pokemon of the week was from Sinnoh. It is an ice type, which is actually very strange that it takes a long time to get to the ice types in Sinnoh, even though it's a northern territory, which you'd think it'd be colder.
Look, you're talking about the region that has 2 fire Pokemon, one being Ponyta.
Well, either way. So the first ice type that appears is a mono ice type. And then you have this one, or it has to be primary ice type, so not ice type as the second type. You can only catch this Pokemon in the wild in Black and White and Black and White 2. There's literally no other game does it ever appear in the wild. So only in Unova are there wild of this running around. And if you do want to evolve it, you have to follow a special condition. It has to I'll give you the clue I didn't give last week. It has to know a special move, which is similar to what Tangela needs to know in order to evolve into Tangrowth. And then I referenced a science article about trying to restore from some frozen DNA, but it's not a dinosaur. So who is that Pokemon?
It's
Cantonian Sandslash.
Yes, correct. Because Cantonian Sandslash requires special conditions to evolve, which that's something we had in Gen 1.
Man, I'm so good at this.
It's
Mamoswine.
Mamoswine.
It is Mamoswine.
One
You
of
are
my
correct.
all-time favorite Pokemon. I love Mamoswine so much.
I don't like its eyes. I wish its eyes were different. Otherwise, it's a
I
pretty
wish its
decent
shiny was
Pokemon.
different.
Is that why X and Y is your favorite
Adorable
game?
green.
Because you ride on one?
Oh, I love riding on Mamoswine. So
I don't know.
fuzzy.
I wanted Pokemon riding to be so much more than what it ended up being.
I really thought in X and Y there was gonna be like a race. Like your mom's like, I'm a world class Rhyhorn racer, and you're like, oh cool, maybe later in the game I'll race a Rhyhorn, and you're like, no, that doesn't happen.
Nah. I mean, that's your mom's thing. That's not your thing.
Oh yeah,
Exactly. It's all about breaking free from your parents and discovering your own identity.
At age 10.
Yeah, I think you were like 14 in X and Y.
Oh, probably.
13 or 14.
You don't like the ski goggles? I like the ski goggle eyes.
Nah, there's just something that's like too sunken. I think that's my issue.
Some trivia here. Mamoswine would have been obtainable in both Gen 2 and Gen 3 if it existed. As Piloswine...
How is that trivia?
As
If it
Piloswine
existed, sure.
could learn ancient power in both generations.
So that's the thing, is that the Pokemon has to know ancient power in order for it to be able to evolve into Mamoswine or Tangrowth.
Saying is like Tangela couldn't learn ancient power in 2 or 3.
Right.
No other Pokemon has the same type combination as Mamoswine and its pre-evolutions. And Mamoswine and its pre-evolutions are the only Pokemon weak to all 3 starter Pokemon. Hey, that's actually really good trivia.
That one's a good one.
There you go.
Way to finally get it done, Bulbapedia.
It's a Pokemon.
Mamoswine is a combination of mammoth and swine. You don't say.
How's that shuffle icon there?
It's good.
Sweet.
It's good. It's a good
There
one.
you go.
Oh,
It appeared in,
so
it appeared in Pokepark Wii, Pikachu's Adventure.
it did.
It was in the Iceberg Zone.
Mamoswine is like the number one. I want you to fix the shiny. Pokemon
Well, that's
Company.
not going to happen.
I
so.
know. It's just such a gross green.
Now, if it was called Charoswine,
It would be black and sleek and cool.
yeah, it'd be black and red and purple and
Oh, well.
a
Let's
$200
go on
card.
to this week's Pokemon. This is going to be real long and real boring, so
Love it.
get some caffeine, get a cup of coffee, something like that. Here we go. As we have now reached my personal 8th anniversary of... that should be 8th. Start again. As we have now reached my personal 8th anniversary of appearing on this program, we will once again discuss one of my favorite Pokemon of all time, Tickles. Tickles was one of the key Pokemon that I brought to Pokemon US Nationals in 2012. I thought it looked really cool, with a W on its head matching the W in my name. I distinctly remember that I knew absolutely nothing about competitive battling at the time and had pretty much only brought a team so that I could battle with Wheels and Irene, who were also in the VGC competition. My memory may be flawed here. I just checked in Pokemon Home, and Tickles is currently at level 67. I don't think I ever used her after 2012 US Nationals, so that's where she is, frozen in time. I do know that my main tactic in using Tickles was to try to use Fissure, a ground-type one-hit knockout move. For those in the know, Oko moves are never used in competitive VGC because they have a very low possibility of hitting, even with accuracy-improving items. By the time everyone at dinner the night before had informed me that my Pokemon and moves choices were garbage, that my Pokemon needed held items, and they should all be over level 50, I realized I didn't stand a chance. In 2012, I did not have a good sense of Pokemon tools available on the internet. Tickle's other moves were Aqua Tail, Earthquake, and Future Sight. She received Stab from Aqua Tail and Earthquake, and I've never been able to figure out why this particular Pokemon has access to Future Sight. Future Sight is both a weird and terrible move. She has a docile nature, meaning that none of her stats were improved or hindered, and her ability is Anticipation. Her Pokemon species is one of the few non-psychic types that can have Anticipation as an ability, and they are the only ones, including her pre-evolution, with her type combination that can have it at all. Anticipation, which causes your Pokemon to shudder if one of the opposing Pokemon has a super effective move, is a terrible ability to have in Pokemon VGC. Smogon has sorted Tickles into its PU tier, as they describe their lowest official usage-based tier, with the following overview. With access to Dragon Dance, a fairly rare move for Pokemon in PU, and a typing that allows it to resist types that are fairly common in PU, Tickles may seem like a good choice for a setup sweeper. However, in reality, it has horrible offensive and defensive stats that make it extremely difficult to do damage and seem like a threat. Tickle's lack of coverage and severely disappointing stats, even at +1, make it near impossible to sweep an entire team, as its terrible speed allows it to get revenge killed very easily. That makes it very difficult setting up without fainting. There you go. That is the Pokemon of the week. If you don't know it by now, do some research. Figure it out.
All right. We will be back next week, of course. 2 weeks left on the Kickstarter. If you're interested in that, a huge shout out again to Joshua Yehl for being on today's episode. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that interview. I am still in talks with, I think, 2 other people to get them on the show. So we're doing that. We have a subreddit, r/supereffective. If you want a Pokemon community on Reddit that isn't completely awful, although I'm probably going to change it to just PKMNcast, because that's like literally everything is. It's on my to-do list, is to change the Patreon and
branding. Always be branding.
Always be branding. Speaking of branding, Twitter.com/PKMNcast, YouTube.com/PKMNcast, Instagram.com/PKMNcast, PKMNcast.com. We have the website, or PokemonPodcast.com. Podcast does go up on YouTube every single Monday. Obviously, you made it to the end, so you're listening to it somehow. But I know people bothered me for years about having the podcast on YouTube. Now it is on YouTube. It's been on YouTube all year. So every Monday for that. And then YouTube videos every Wednesday and Friday. We've been doing that for like the last 6 months. So if you can't make it to the live streams, there's Masters content, there's Pokemon Go content, there's Sword and Shield content. There was a couple guides that I made. So please, if you need more content, you want to support, YouTube is a good place. If you can't make it to the Twitch stuff, otherwise Twitch is pretty much every evening. I think that's it. I think that's everything. Greg is at White Wing on Twitter. Will is at Wash in the Sink. I am at Dragging a Lake. Otherwise, thank you for listening. We will see you guys next week. This has been another episode of the Pokemon Podcast, and we are
super effective.
Super on strike. Strike.
A quick shout out to everyone who supports us on Patreon. If you would like to support It's Super Effective, you can head over to patreon.com/It's Super Effective, or you can head over to isc.cash if you would like to support the podcast. Shout out to our producers of this episode, Kay, Kevin, Catherine, Courtney, Matthew, Anthony, Jetsy, Patrick, Casey, Liam, Potato, and our executive producer of Spencer. Thank you all for your support. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and we will see you next week.